Welcome to Mangale, Tales Beyond the Grasslands. I'm your host, Miriam. I bring you stories that have wandered through time, stories that invite us to reflect, reconnect, and re-emerge with clarity and purpose. Today's story is about Kang, son of Ngi, the last of his name, a man who cheated death and paid the price. Before we dive in, just a quick heads up. The stories in Mangale are tales spun from threads of folklore, ancestral wisdom, and a sprinkle of historical events. As a child, these stories were not only fun, but they carried lessons on life and death, love and war, forgiveness and repentance. Just now, I'm passing them on, as is the custom, with my own spin on it. The work of creative oral storytelling is not a full history lesson, and any resemblance to actual people, living or gone, is purely coincidental. Take the Lake Nyos disaster, for example. If you haven't heard of it, please look it up. It's a haunting part of the history of the womb people. The story in this episode imagines those events through the lens of myth, culture, and traditional beliefs. Our main character is a symbolic figure. He carries the voices of survivals, but he's not a real person. I'm retelling this story with a twist to invite us to reflect and to reconnect with a part of our history. So listen with curiosity, and when the story ends, I encourage you to explore the rich oral traditions and local histories that inspired it. Come, sit. The story awaits. They called him Kang. To the villagers, he was a madman. He spoke to the wind. He fed fufu and soup to carved wooden figures. And every evening, as the sun dipped below the hills, he'd sit by the lake, locked in a silent staring contest with something only he could see in the mist. No one spoke to him. Whispers always warned. Say his name 3 times, and a silent smoke would rise from the ground. That evening, Kang sat at the edge of Lake Womb, his feet half buried in the cool sand, his thoughts heavy as the fog that curled over the water. He'd been walking all day, aimless but not lost, led by the ache of guilt that never left him. It wasn't this lake that had taken his family. It was Lake Nyos. A great silence had swallowed them whole. A toxic breath had rolled out of the lake and taken everyone, his kin, his neighbors, his entire lineage. When Kang returned from his trade near the Nigerian border, he found only silence. Thick, pressing silence. No songs, no laughter, no gods. He'd come home to nothing. And yet, he lived. The last root of a family tree now burned to the ground. There'd been another time, years earlier, when a river had nearly claimed him, when death had nearly claimed him. He was returning from Nigeria, his canoe heavy with goods, woven cloth, palm oil, kola nuts. But the Kashimbila River was in no mood for trade. Its waters rose in angry waves, slapping his boat, twisting beneath him like something alive. Storm clouds darkened the sky. The river tried to take him. He had no gods to call by name. The ones of his ancestors, of earth and fire, felt far away in these waters. The gods of Taraba, where he traded, were strangers. In desperation, he cried out to them all, "If I'm meant to live, let the water release me. Let the land pull me to its warm embrace, and let the will of the gods be." And the river let him go. He washed ashore, alive but not whole. Something had been taken that day. He came back, he built a life, and even married Ika, daughter of the chief. They'd had a daughter, Mbi, whose eyes sparkled like the morning sun. People said he was fortunate, but no one saw the questions that haunted him. Why had he been spared? Who had saved him? And what did they want in return? Before the Lake Nyos disaster, the village was filled with life. Children chased each other under the baobab trees. Women traded and braided and sang. Men laid traps and smoked pipes. And the air was sweet with roasted corn, fresh plum, and palm wine. The old gods of earth, water, wind, and fire used to be honored by song, dance, and offerings. But change had come fast and silent. The red men had brought a new god, and with it, fear. Many villagers, confused or afraid, had turned away from their ancestors. The red man's god came with promises of salvation, of power in a book, and miracles from men who did not know the names of the rivers or the songs of the soil. Slowly, the villagers had turned away from the old gods. The songs faded. The offerings stopped. The gods, starved of prayer, grew resentful, especially the gods of wind and water. The high priestess had warned everyone, but no one listened. And then, one night, a breath rose from beneath the lake, silent, odorless, but deadly. A heavy gas rolled out like a ghost. It crept through homes and hillsides, stealing breath before a cry could be made. Entire families were gone. Kang's village disappeared into silence. When he'd returned, he found no bodies. The red men had said it was a plague, and they'd pressured the surrounding villages to burn the dead in order to stop the spread. His family, his neighbors, gone in smoke. No graves, no resting places, no chance to mourn. And the others, the neighboring villages who survived, whispered amongst themselves, they called him the last one, the cursed one. Some say the gods of wind and water punished him. Some say they came to collect him from when he survived Kashimbila, took his family instead. They called him the last one, the cursed one, and most importantly, Kang believed them. This evening, the wind shifted. There were voices in the air. Not the ones you hear with your ears, but with your bones. Wangi, son of the soil. Kang was startled. Kang immediately dragged out of his trance, and memory started to flood his mind. No one had called him Wangi in many moons. He thought of Mbi, his daughter, her laugh like fresh rain, her questions about the gods and ancestors. The last time he'd seen her, she'd handed him a drawing, a crooked tree with 3 figures beneath it. "It's us," she'd said. "You, Mami, and me. We are the roots." He hadn't known what to say back then. Such a clever little girl. Now, sitting before the dark mirror of Lake he was the last root. What had he become because of this? A madman? The cursed one? The last one? The last of his name. Sometimes you find Kang sitting under the moonlight, staring vaguely into the distance, into the mist, never saying a word, never questioning. The story presented in this episode of Mangale is a work of creative oral storytelling, inspired by folklore, ancestral wisdom, or a sprinkle of historical events. With the Lake Nyos disaster as its backdrop, it's not intended to represent a complete or definitive historical account. In fact, this version of the story is told from a lens of myth, culture, and traditional beliefs. It's not intended to represent factual, scientific account of what happened. This is only one interpretation or explanation of what happened and how the survivors processed their grief. I encourage you to reflect on your opinions or beliefs on what happened at Lake Nyos and its survivors. Try to put yourself in Kang's Chang's shoes. How would you have processed the loss? Or better yet, maybe Kang's story resonates with a part of your own history. How have you processed your loss? Thank you for listening to Mangale, Tales Beyond the Grasslands. I am your host, Miriam. Until next time, may your path be clear, may your heart be steady, and may the spirits watch over you.